Everyone mentioned today is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and everything I discuss here is theory until proven fact, even if it is.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean, and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short, so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna sing my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah bitch I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on this shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seeds as I spread with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
Hey guys, how you going? Okay, we had 108 degrees Fahrenheit yesterday here in west of Sydney. Oh, it was 42.5 degrees or something, maybe 42.8. Today it's 18 at the moment. Hey, going out to lunch. Good to see you, Alex. Good to see you. Who else have we got? Deb, yes, happy birthday to Shannon for yesterday. And Deb's here. How you going, Deb? Kai, God love you. Prayers for you, mate. Seriously. Rolf, how you going? Cassandra, how you going? Tony, how you going? Lost me for a few years. Oh, God love you. Deb, Alex. Timmy! Have to search for me on YouTube. Wow. Rumble notifies you, but YouTube doesn't. Wow. That's amazing. How you going, Timmy? And Janelle, how you going? Okay, let's get into... I thought it was going to be a quick one. I'm not so sure anymore. Oh, I was looking through X this morning. I keep going to call it Twitter. X this morning, and I've filled up the... Well, I think I've got over an hour's worth of news. So let's get into it. Drew Pavlov... I want to say Pavlova. Why do I want to say Pavlova? Drew Pavlov said, breaking extraordinary new polling by Demos AU shows Pauline Hanson's One Nation tied with the coalition in nationwide primary vote. This is the first time since 1945 that a minor party has pulled level with one of the major parties in Australia. The ALP are at 29%, the Coalition are at 23%, One Nation 23%, and the Greens at 12%. I believe it's even hiked up to equaling Labor, which is the one in charge at the moment. Kobe Thatcher said One Nation's on fire, shows they're equal to the Coalition. Okay, they're coming behind your elbow. And this is One Nation Australia. Polling shows One Nation is the only party with a real chance of beating Labor, while the Liberals trail badly behind. I think they've crept forward even more since the last one. The great switch is on and One Nation is rising fast. Go One Nation, guys, seriously. Okay, let's go over to America. We're going to go everywhere today. Tom Fitton said no wonder ICE agents are targeted for murder. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz smeared ICE officers as a threat to the public, called ICE reckless, suggested the state is at war with federal officers and under attack by ICE, and smeared ICE as the modern-day Gestapo. Number 2, this goes on for like over 40 different people. Number 2, California Governor Gavin Newsom likened ICE to secret police, calling them authoritarian and calling for people to push back. 3, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker claimed ICE is turning the country into Nazi Germany. 4, New York Governor Kathy Hochul accused ICE of terrorising people. 5, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro claimed ICE officers make our neighbourhoods less safe. 6, Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan said ICE officers cause chaos and terror. 7, Senator Chuck Schumer, Poopy Pants Schumer, declared that ICE does not belong in our neighbourhoods. 8, Senator Tina Smith called ICE a clear and present threat. Senator John Hickenlooper, did I say that right? Smeared ICE as a reign of terror. 10, Senator Jeff Merkley likened ICE operations to fascism and claimed officers are doing nothing but terrorising our communities. Bernie Sanders asked people to stop ICE from what they're doing as soon as possible. Elizabeth Warren claimed ICE is intentionally stoking fear and tearing communities apart. Senator Ruben Gallagher, said ICE exists to scare the American public. Senator Mark Warner equated ICE officers to brutal dictator. Senator Dick Blumenthal accused ICE of spreading lawlessness and recklessness. Senator Alex Polita accused ICE of indiscriminate violence. Senator Dick Durbin accused ICE officers of committing atrocities. Ilhan Omar said ICE is state violence, called officers violent beyond cruel, and stated abolishing ICE is not enough. Pramila Jayapal called ICE officers deranged, accused them of kidnapping and resistance, said resistance to ICE is inspiring, and claimed ICE officers will shoot at you and kill you, only if you do the wrong thing. Eric Swalwell smeared ICE officers they called them masked thugs, called them terrorising bandits, said it was his priority to ensure officers are no longer faceless, compared them to the KGB and demanded they stay the F out of California. Jasmine Crockett compared ICE to slave patrols and called them thugs. Delia Ramirez said ICE is the single biggest threat to public safety right now and attacked ICE as a terror force. Rep Summer Lee said ICE is out of control and a police state. Ayanna Presley called ICE a rogue, violent agency that has no business in our communities and must be abolished, and accused ICE of terrorising our communities. Mark Pocan demanded ICE get the F out of our cities. April McLean Delaney called ICE lawless. Alexandria Occasional Cortex called ICE an anti-civilian force and said ICE should not exist. Rashida Tlaib said ICE is terrorising our communities and turning our country into a fascist police state, calling it a rogue agency and calling for it to be abolished. Just remember all these names. Julie Johnson excused violence against ICE as people channeling that frustration. Really? Laura Friedman said ICE officers are terrorising our friends and neighbours and bringing chaos and violence to the streets. Shri Theander Thanida, called to end legal protection for ICE officers. Janelle Bynum said ICE is state-sponsored terrorism. Sylvia Garcia referred to ICE officers as thugs. Jan Schakowsky urged people to fight back against ICE's abuse. Robin Kelly smeared ICE as a Gestapo and betrayal. LaMonica MacGyver incited people to shut down the city because we're at war. Max Frost compared ICE operations to the worst horrors and crimes against humanity. John Larson said ICE is the SS and the Gestapo. Stephen Lynch smeared ICE officers as the Gestapo and nondescript thugs. Dan Goldman compared federal officers to secret police who must be unmasked. Becca Ballant called ICE vigilantes. Chai Garcia, I don't know how to say that, anyway, said ICE brings nothing but terror and violence and warned ICE officers they will be held accountable for terrorising my community. Nikki Budzinski called ICE officers dangerous and reckless. I can't read half these names. Cisneros claimed ICE has terrorised people through racial profiling. Lauren Underwood accused ICE of horrifying campaign to spread fear and violently snatch people from our streets, only illegal aliens. And they may get some legal people, but what they do is, I believe, they hold them, they find out they're legal, and they let them go again. Steve Cohen accused out-of-control ICE officers of misusing their authority. Oh, how do I say this one? Joaquin Castro, I don't know how to say it, called ICE a rogue organisation that should be disbanded. Maxine Waters said ICE was causing mayhem and death. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey demanded ICE get the F out of the city and accused officers of terrorising our communities. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani said ICE enforcement is an attack on us all. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, it went over 50, there you go, accused ICE of being secret police who are terrorising our communities and said ICE was lawless racist force. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu compared ICE officers to a neo-Nazi group. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, of course, excused violent anti-ICE protests are just like Lakers championship. What? New Jersey State Senator Brittany Timberlake threatened that ICE officers will find themselves in the same position as those who carried out the illegal acts in Nazi Germany. Minneapolis City Council member Robin Wansley claimed ICE is carrying out terrorist attacks. Los Angeles County Supervisor Janice Hahn called ICE dangerous. And can't even say that. Vice Mayor Cynthia Gonzalez of California implored the violent 18th Street and Florencia 13 gangs to help out and organise against ICE. The source? The White House. Holy shoot. How you going, Teresa? Who else is in here? Dealey. Who else have we got? I just want to make sure I say hello. Shannon, how you going? Happy birthday. Who else has joined us that I've missed? Inverted Earth, how you going? Good to see you guys. Anyone else I've missed, I'll catch up. Oh, Eric, how you going, Eric? Good to see you. Okay. Right, now we got a thread. Okay, these are some long ones, see? I go looking at the last minute, right? And I come up with way more than I can probably deal with, but we'll have a good go at it. Local Distance said leftists are having a tough time with Venezuelans celebrating Maduro's arrest and the Persians overthrowing Iran's Islamic regime because it means the people are rejecting both the communist and Islamic halves of the leftist new Islamo-communist Third World Marxist coalition. That's a mouthful. The left wanted to harness the energy around the Palestinian issue and use it to advance Western Marxism. So they created an alliance between Western Marxist activists and Islamic fundamentalists, Hamas supporters using Third World Marxism and post-colonial theory as the bridge. They thought by getting the popular support of Global South subaltern Third World groups along with the support of the Islamic world that they would have a coalition big enough to challenge the United States and which they would control by virtue of having organised it. Zohran Mamdani is the most famous face of this new coalition. However, having Venezuelans celebrate the arrest of their socialist leader while Persians overthrow an Islamic regime is basically a rejection of both halves of that coalition, Marxism and Islamism, by the people. which means Western leftists are going to have a very hard time gaining popular support while using Islamo-communist third world Marxism as the main theory that holds their coalition together and structures their political agenda. Add the fact that the Israel-Palestine war is over and the energy is dissipating from that issue, and looks like social justice activists screwed up when they tried to go from transgenderism and critical race theory to third world Islamo-Marxism and post-colonial theory. None of this guarantees that the left is done, and they still might be able to get a lot out of this new coalition. However, the arrest of Maduro and overthrow of the Ayatollah is throwing a wrench in the plans of Western leftists, Marxists and social judge activists. And thank God for that. Seriously. I don't know, they're holding hands with the devil. Seriously, all of them. Where was I up to? How did it jump so far? Okay, Rhoda, I can't say the last name, I'm sorry. True, is responding to JD Vance. Some of our best Muslim allies in the Gulf think the Islamic indoctrination in certain parts of the West is too dangerous. So there is a difference between Muslims and Islamists, okay? True, that's because we identified the threat early and blocked it out of society. Islamism doesn't integrate, it infiltrates. It hides behind victimhood, weaponizes tolerance and exploits democratic spaces it has no intention of respecting. We understood early that political Islam is a power project, not a faith. So we drew a line, protected institutions, enforced the law, no apologies. Well done. Visegrad 24, a message to the brave lionesses of Iran from Iranian dissidents around the world. Let's have a listen.
As an Iranian woman, I stand before you today with a warning. We saw what happened when our king was deposed and a republic was declared, ruled by the ideology of Islamism.
It's extraordinary how one man can command such adoration.
We saw this revolution, mosque as a movement for change, destroyed our liberty and freedom.
The imposition of Islamic law here has started with an order to women to cover their heads in government offices. Many are furious. Only a minority in Tehran already follow the instruction. Several of the women who stood their ground with considerable courage were stabbed as they chanted slogans for equal rights.
Worst of all, for those of us who were lucky enough to escape, we now see the same thing happening in the West.
Progressivism is a two-faced God, serving the cynical by ensnaring the gullible.
We lost our monarchy under slogans that read, "Out with the old, in with the new."
But now, the people of Iran suffer under one of the most backward and austere regimes in the modern world.
Without warning, the IRGC opened fire on the protesters. In this one incident alone, the regime murdered as many as 100 Iranians and possibly more.
We must remain vigilant against the resurgence of alliance between the red and the black, socialism and Islamism,
which silenced our sisters in Iran and recognized the threat posed by these ideologies.
The symbiotic relationship between postmodernism and extremism is a grave internal threat to the West. The West, which has sheltered us in a long decades since we were thrown out of our homeland.
Be vigilant. If these shadows of tyranny reach the Western world, there will be nowhere left to run to.
I ask you to keep the memory of Iran in your hearts.
In the next 25 years, according to other people, will be among the 5 most prosperous countries of the world.
The Iran which was and will be again one day our homeland.
Javid Shah.
God save the Shah.
Yeah, give Iran back to the Iranian people. Keep Iran Iranian. Okay, Rich Toronto said the leftist media refuses to show the world what's happening in Iran. They refuse to show the world the people standing up against Islamism. They refuse to show that Islamism is a death cult and that it wants to take over. They refuse to show the world because they're complicit. This is Tehran. Let that sink in. You're watching a revolution unfold live while the world's media stays dead silent. Legacy media has become nothing more than a propaganda machine because what news could possibly be bigger than this? Amazing. The Iranian people, they're overthrowing their government. They're burning down mosques. They don't want Islamism anymore. And we are just like fighting at our end, very small scale compared to what they're facing. Nilesh said this is a revolution that rejects Islamism and the rule of clerics over society, a revolution against the erasure of their culture, against replacing their national heroes and ancient traditions with imposed religious figures and rituals. That's why people are burning mosques while chanting Iran. This is about reclaiming identity. This is about dignity. More and more Iranians are leaving Islam and embracing their ancient Persian ancestral identity. And I think good on them. Melissa Tate responded to JD Vance said, absolutely insane headline. Visegrad 24 said, breaking. The United Arab Emirates announces it will cut funds for citizens who want to study in the UK out of fear of Emirati students being radicalised by the Muslim Brotherhood Islamists on British campuses. An Arab state now views a European state as a dangerous Islamist radicalisation hotspot. That is an insane headline. Melissa Tate said Europe will already be Islamic by 2050. America is next. The Islamists have already bought up the major right-wing influencers and journalists and massive social media bot campaigns to promote Islamism under the guise of America first. Be careful who you follow. Very, very careful. Seriously, guys, okay? The people who are saying America first, America only, and MAGA is dead. Account based in Bangladesh. And there is a very famous American streamer who, you know, not that I don't like her, but I know what she is, and that's Candace Owens. She's another one. And Tucker might be one too. Well, remains to be seen. AJ replied to Laura Loomer. What did she say? I don't trust her either, but, you know, hey, President Trump posted this on Truth Social and show of support for Iranian protesters. Oh, well, yeah, no, I trust this then. Donald J. Trump said over 1 million people rally Iran's second largest city under protesters' control. Regime forces leave. AJ said, message to the American left feminists who've collectively lost their minds. Women and girls in Iran are not only rejecting Islamism, they are also rejecting radical leftist ideas. They seek the values of democracy and freedom. You know why? Because they've actually lived through the hell of Sharia law. So wake the up. Okay? That's for the lefty ladies in our countries. You need to wake up. And you know, once the Marxists and Islamists have taken over, they're going to turn on each other and only one will win. They don't see it that way, though. Peter Katsambanis. We all need to stand with the brave people of Iran as they rise up against oppression and extreme Islamism. There have been so many false dawns since 1979, usually ending with mass murder of civilians. Let's hope this time they get the freedom they deserve. Okay, since 1979 is when I believe the deep state overthrew and put these people in. Nirvana Mahmood said many will ask what will happen after the collapse of the Islamic Republic in Iran. I can tell you what will not happen. There will be no Islamists hijacking the revolution as it happened after the 2011 Arab Spring. There you go. Iranians tasted the evilness of Islamism and will never allow it again in their country. And this is what I think we're going to be facing. Not to the point that they did. Not to that extent, but yeah. I'll roll for you back. I think Michelle accidentally timed you out. How you going, Michelle, by the way? But I think she accidentally timed you out, so come back in. Please. And how you going, Donald? Okay. Jassem, I can't say the last name. I am so sorry. The decline in Emirati students going to Britain was a safeguard against the influence of political Islamism ideology, Muslim Brotherhood. What was Obama a member of? That's right. Stuck up for? Yeah, the Muslim Brotherhood. Among others, infiltrating Great Britain's universities. Would you ever imagine an Arab nation is shielding its people from the West? Okay. Alyssa Lebon Goodbye to the symbol of colonial Islamism, freeing us in the dark ages for freezing us in the dark ages for 47 years. Hello to the 2,500-year-old lion and sun, symbol of ancient Iranian mythology and Persian identity. Bring it back, returning us to the light. Wow. That's beautiful. Yep. MAGA fan, 1776, all eyes on Iran revolution. We're about to witness the freedom of Iran living through historical times. Iran is the nest of the serpent of all the world's radical Islamism. This will help eliminate extreme Muslim rhetoric. Way to go, guys. E.L. Yacobi said in Iran, the people are fighting against Islamism. In America, places like Dearborn and Minneapolis are being taken over by Islamists. What have we imported? And Alex Armstrong said this is how bad the threat of Islamism is in the UK. Even Arab Muslim countries are restricting their children from studying in the UK. Okay. And we know that mainstream news is going to ignore the revolution in Iran. They don't want to broadcast the fact that an entire nation is rejecting Islamism. The BBC doesn't want to offend Islamists in the UK and elsewhere. If the British see Muslims rejecting Islam in Iran, it gives validation of Brits rejecting it in the UK. As if you need any excuse at all to reject it, other than your culture. Bridget Furtick said Charlie Kirk warned that Islam would be used as a tool to take down America. A spiritual battle is coming to the West. The enemies are wokeism or Marxism, combining with Islamism to go after the American way of life. Understand that this parasitic ideology is about conquering without ever having to fire a shot. It's not done with tanks or mortar shells or with drones. It is conquering via maternity wards and the mass production of new babies that are brought in via mass immigration. I won't play it, it's 6 minutes long. Okay, Kevin Killey said the scale of fraud in California dwarfs what's been uncovered in Minnesota. $32 billion in unemployment fraud, 1.2 million fake community college applicants, $24 billion in homeless funds lost, $17 billion on a non-existent high-speed rail. This is likely the tip of the iceberg. Oh, they're all coming next. Andrew Colvert said the fraud isn't just in Minnesota, it's global. Sec Besant, is it Secretary Besant? We will track it to the Middle East and East Africa, prosecute the individuals no matter where they are. $600 billion stolen from you, funneled overseas. Trump's team is coming for every cent. And Besant says the prosecutions are about to start. 2026 is going to be the year, guys. It will. I'm telling you. Not Jerome Powell said working 12 hours a day, 3,120 hours a year, sleepless nights, constant exhaustion, only to watch it disappear into government fraud. Kind of feels like a waste of it, doesn't it? But I do believe, as Trump said, he's going to cut your taxes. So what you earn will be all yours. C3 said, try to understand this, then realise Casey Jammer was born to nomads in Somalia, moved to America, then helped other Somalians enter America. Of course he doesn't want ICE in Oregon. They're running the same scam Minnesota is. Fraud is everywhere. What's this guy saying?
Let me say to this federal agencies and ICE.
I can barely hear you.
This is Oregon.
Oh.
We do not need you. You're not welcome. And you need to get the hell out of our community.
You need to speak better English, mate. Why are you even in any position of power whatsoever? Okay. You watch the whole world run on it. Hey, Sherry, hey, going? Have I missed anyone? C3 said, want some truth? Dems are 20% to 30% political party of social outcasts. Mentally ill men, race baiters, commies, Karen feminists and grifters. They've been propped up by illegals and fraud. Trump is deporting illegals and ending the fraud. Dems are violently lashing out to stop it. And that's what we're seeing. Leading report breaking: Minnesota AG Keith Ellison officially faces criminal referral to the DOJ for his alleged involvement in Somali fraud. So things are happening. You're just not hearing about it. Paul Azapula said Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson telling constituents to sign up for ICE mobilisation alerts is tantamount to treason. Arrest her. Isn't that kind of what that other lady was signed up for as well? Mobilisation alerts? Oh, Menacing Muskrat, how you going? Yeah, look, this lady reminds me of someone. I don't know if it reminds you of that lady who was really eager to go after Trump quite a few years ago, all excited. She was getting all excited about going after Trump. I don't know if you remember her. This one. I knew Seattle Socialist Mayor Katie Wilson reminded me of someone. Remember this lady? I wonder if they're the same people or mother and daughter. Dunno. Let's have a look. What's going on in here? Yeah, the Trump grand juror on decision not to subpoena Trump. I wanted to hear from the former president. Yep, that one. She got really excited about holding Trump accountable. I don't know for what, but hey. Wall Street Ape said CM Mayor Katie Wilson says she'll not investigate any immigrant daycare fraud. Credible evidence has been produced by journalists that fraud is taking place. She's asked directly, will she investigate those facilities where investigators found fraud? Her response is no. Another one bites the dust, and another one's gone, and another one's gone. No, I wasn't referring to Jean Carroll. No, Menacing Muskrat. It was that lady. This one, the one who was so keen to go after Trump. She was one of the jurors or something. Eric Doherty said breaking Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is now going to offer rewards to Minnesota fraud whistleblowers. We know these rats will turn on each other. We'll offer whistleblower payments to those who tell us who, what, where, when and how. Awesome. More prosecutions are coming. Gunther Eagleman said just in, Elon Musk drops a bombshell. National fraud is way over $500 billion a year. $521 billion is the low end. Not even counting every agency. How much of our national debt is straight up fraud? We need Doge running for years to clean up this mess. Elon Musk said it's much higher than that. Holy shit. That's a lot. Okay, Eric Doherty said breaking Somali migrant Maine councilman Imran Osman resigns after being implicated in a fraud investigation and blames racism. He was just sworn in days ago. He also faces charges for theft of a firearm. Good riddance. Now deport him. What's this?
Former counselor was indicted, calling the situation a distraction for the city.
Congratulations.
How are these people getting in? How are they even getting into these positions? Okay, Eric Doherty said breaking new House Doge Committee Chairman Tim Burchett asked Elon Musk to rejoin the fight to help him root out waste, fraud and abuse in the federal budget. I'd love to see this. Burchett promises to embarrass anyone who stands in the way of common sense legislation that cuts fraud. I hope Elon Musk will get re-engaged with us, and I'll look forward to working with him as I did in the past because he had some great ideas. We're going to produce legislation that is not just going to be a gripe session. We're going to produce legislation, and some of it will be bipartisan because it's just doing what's right. We're going to actually go move the legislation to the committees, and those people that stand in our way, I'll publicly embarrass them. We're $38 trillion in debt, and what's going on in Minnesota, folks, is the tip of the dadgum iceberg. There you go. Paul Azapula said Governor Hochul complains that President Trump is demanding information on the daycare recipients in New York in order to make sure fraud isn't occurring. Instead of providing that info, she's suing. What have you got to hide, love? What is she hiding? That is like an admission of guilt. You want to sue him? Okay, you're guilty. At least put her up on charges and then let her face court. I mean, I'm just calling her guilty without a, trial. But that's like an admission. Suing someone for wanting to know information, that's an admission. Ryan Gerritsen said Carney is an absolute fraud. Brazilian president claims Carney condemned US force in Venezuela. There you go. C3 said Antifa terrorists are destroying a hotel in Minneapolis. The entire political law enforcement apparatus in Minnesota is allowing it to happen. They think the more buildings burn, the less people will talk about the massive fraud operation they run. Nothing's going to stop people talking about the massive fraud that's too big. Could be your GDP. You might owe nobody money. Fraud. Okay, John. Oh, I love this, man. There's a special place in hell for people who steal from the poor, no matter who you are or where you're from. So don't let anyone tell you it's racist to care about the welfare fraud scheme, mostly run by members of Minneapolis Somali community. I don't know if anyone's seen on, I think it's on YouTube. There are clips of John Kennedy and some of his sayings, and he's hilarious. You got to love the man, seriously.
Now, I want to make it clear that I love Minnesota. I love Minnesota. But I do not like people, whether they live in Minnesota or elsewhere, who steal money from the poor. There ought to be a special place in hell for them.
There is.
By now, unless you are still living in your parents' basement playing video games, you know that there has been massive welfare fraud in Minnesota. It's staggering. It's stunning. It's astounding. It may rise to the level of $9 billion of taxpayer money meant for the poor. $9 billion. Now, it's an uncomfortable truth that at this juncture, most of that fraud appears to be centered in the community of Minneapolis among people of Somali ancestry. Some have said and suggested that it's racist to say that. Facts are not racist. What I just said is just a fact. So far, there have been 90 people charged, most of whom are of Somali descent. That's just a fact. There are over 100,000 people of Somali ancestry in Minnesota, most of them in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And the vast majority of them vote in a bloc, as is their right. And a vast majority of them vote in a bloc for Democratic candidates, as is their right.
Did I not mute my microphone when I blew my nose? I'm sorry. That was me. Oh, dear. I tried to mute the microphone. I'm so sorry. I didn't manage to mute it. Holy shit. That was me. I am so sorry, guys. Oh, shit.
Some will say Kennedy's being a racist for pointing that out. Let me say it again. Facts are not racist. They're facts.
I probably did it right into the microphone too, didn't I? I'm sorry. Oh, dear. Oh, no. I probably muted what he was saying instead of myself. Okay, Gunther Eagleman said... Oh, shit. Gunther Eagleman said, bastard Gavin Newsom is reportedly shutting down public access to ghost daycare data in California. Whistleblowers and private investigators claim the fraud could hit billions. Gavin Newsom is a fraud. We already knew that. He also used to have, you know, that triangle spiral symbol. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, no. Johnny Midnight said, fraud is rampant. This one claims to build rockets next to a 7-Eleven for the DOD. What the hell?
We're walking up to a place that's a TGV rocket company. So apparently these people build rockets. They've gone over $4 million from the government.
Shit, that's loud.
And it's ran by a guy named Pat Bond. Now, this to me does not look like a rocket company. This apparently is a $4 million rocket company according to the two.
They're going to censor, like they're going to claim censorship for this one, I guarantee you.
Now, who approves this?
And we're in a Hub C zone. Fabian, what is a Hub C zone?
So a Hub C zone, according to the SBA, is a zone that's not really built up. That's more, as you can see, run down. So they give preferential treatment for grants to companies that are set up in these zones. So we don't even know if the guy even lives here, if he's renting it out to someone and he just owns the place. But technically it's a rocket company that's rented out to other tenants, which makes it even weirder if that's the case.
The thing that really pisses off a lot of people, obviously, is that places like this shouldn't be receiving $4 million of taxpayers' money to say that they create rockets in places like this. And we know for a fact that an individual receives one grant after another. This isn't a one-time grant. This is one grant after another phase one grants. And the goal of the phase one grants is they give you about 200,000 or so just to get into phase two and to say that you've developed what you needed to in phase one so you can get the larger sum of money. So obviously that place is located right next to a 7-Eleven, and you know better than anybody if they were actually manufacturing any types of rockets, it'd be such a massive safety hazard. Obviously this is blatant fraud.
Yep, exactly. More fraud.
We're walking up to a place
Holy
that's...
crap. Yeah, Eric, at least it wasn't a fart. Oh dear, I'm embarrassed by that one. That's just blowing my nose. Libs of TikTok said, holy crap, estimated annual fraud in the US is over 500 billion, which we know, likely much more because it's not every agency reports. Elon's right. This is why Democrats fought against Doge. They're the ones profiting and doing the fraud. They don't want it uncovered. That's massive. Jim Ferguson said, Trump sounds the alarm on Europe's collapse. They are no longer recognisable. That was President Trump's blunt warning about Europe, and it wasn't about culture wars or nostalgia. It was about sovereignty, borders and survival. While Brussels and Westminster drown in political correctness, Trump is saying out loud what millions see every day. Mass migration is reshaping entire nations fast and not by accident. This is not organic. This is not random. This is policy. Across Europe and the UK, governments have allowed uncontrolled inflows of predominantly young military-aged men from regions that do not share Western values, legal traditions or social contracts. At the same time, native populations are shrinking, silenced and taxed into submission. That's not diversity. That's demographic replacement through bureaucratic force. Trump's message was not subtle. If Europe does not reassert control of its borders, it will cease to exist as a coherent civilization. History shows what happens when elites use mass migration to dissolve nation-states. Social trust collapses, parallel societies form, political violence rises, and eventually a new power structure emerges over the wreckage. Yeah, they'll burn it down and rule over the ashes. This is exactly how empires fall, not with tanks, but with policies that hollow them out from within. Trump is not attacking Europe. He is warning it. The question is whether Europe will listen, or whether it will continue down a path where one day soon, even its own people will no longer recognise the place they call home. I would like to think now they don't recognise the place they call home.
Has been doing so much for Ukraine, but it hasn't been enough. And obviously that I would say that President Putin is not afraid of Europe. He's afraid of the United States of America, as led by me. There's no fear of Europe. You know, Europe's fallen behind, and Europe, and JD said it very strongly. I don't know. It's he got took a lot of heat, but I didn't give him any heat. Europe is a different place. Europe is changing. Europe has got to get its act together. I love Europe. I guess I came from Europe, essentially. I have my roots are in Europe, but Europe is a different place. They have to get their act together. Now they've started, they have a great NATO leader, and they've gone up to 5% from 2% GDP. That's a big step. But they have to be very careful with their immigration policy, and they have to be very, because, you know, I will just say, to be nice, that there are certain places in Europe that are very important that are no longer recognizable. I'm being very nice. I'm being very diplomatic when I say that. They are not recognizable.
Yep, they aren't. And thank you, Teresa. Have proof of humanity. Yes, at least you know I'm not a bot or a, what do you call it, AI. Hey, Flyby Stu, how you going? Yeah, so real person here. If I was AI, I would read a lot better than I do too. Right, Pulse News said breaking US officials say they will sanction Keir Starmer and Britain if the government dares to ban X, because that's what they're thinking of doing now. Same as Australia at the same time. Trump won't tolerate dictators. Do you firmly support Trump on this? Yes, huge yes. If you have, yes, give a thumbs up. Of course I will. Yep. Sanction Australia too, if they do it, because they're going to. Nick Sautor said breaking the Trump admin is now cutting off the issuance of food stamps, SNAP to Minnesota amid out-of-control fraud. Yes, keep cutting. Audits found Tim Walz's government has failed to provide even basic security checks for the system, which determines who gets that money. Holy cow. It's all happening, isn't it? Bo Loudon said breaking ICE agents have been unleashed into Minneapolis and are rounding up and arresting entire illegal alien families 4 hours ago. God bless ICE and President Trump. I voted for this. Way to go. Leading reports said breaking Republican lawmakers are urging President Donald Trump to invoke a federal insurrection law to arrest Governor Tim Walz after the Democrat threatened to use Minnesota's National Guard to thwart immigration enforcement in his state. Go, they should. Nick Sautor said breaking Minneapolis police surrender to anti-ICE rioters after officers were attacked. They have now run away and abandoned the area, which has been taken over by leftist anarchists. It's time for the Insurrection Act. President Trump, local police have ceded control to anarchists. There you go. Funny that. They call themselves anarchists. They're violent as. Or is that what anarchy is now? Just violence. Elon Musk said they just want to suppress free speech. Sir Doge of the coin. I like the name. Google's Gemini and OpenAI ChatGPT will also generate images of people in bikinis when prompted. So why is Keir Starmer so focused on Grok and X? It's funny because our Prime Minister said the same thing. Anyway, Elon Musk said they just want to suppress free speech. But I'm just going to just hang on this for a minute, right? Yeah, Alex, probably is. I had a dream once a long time ago that there was peaceful anarchy. I was there. I was an anarchist once, right? When I started to wake up, and then I went, no, that's not what I am. No, definitely not. That's not what I believe. Yeah, so there you go. But not through violence either. Nick Sautor said breaking President Trump is calling for credit card interest rates to be capped at 10% by January the 20th, 2026. 10 days. We will no longer let the American public be ripped off by credit card companies that are charging interest rates of 20 to 30%. Donald J. Trump said, please be informed that we will no longer let the American public be ripped off by credit card companies, 20, 30%, and even more, which festered unimpeded during the sleepy Joe Biden administration. Affordability. Effective January 20th, 2026, I, as President of the United States, am calling for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates of 10%. Coincidentally, the January 20th date will coincide with the one-year anniversary of the historic and very successful Trump administration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. President Donald J. Trump. Bridget Fertig said Trump supporter trolls Liberal protesters with a sign of his own. Deport white Liberal women. Packing my bags to go stand with this guy. What a legend. Oh, why can't I just play the music, YouTube? But it goes so well with this. But I can't play it. Good on him. Yeah, deport white Liberal women. See? Good on him. Tommy Robinson said Donald Trump cares more about Europe than most European leaders. This is a real Donald Trump's mother. Trump is more European than any new European. Ready for this?
Where were you born? In a little town called Stornoway. But the island of Lewis, way up in the Hebrides. Way up in the Hebrides. Yeah. Beautiful little island.
And did you live there for most of your life?
Oh, yes, I lived there. I grew up there. Came to New York. Met my husband.
Yeah.
Went back to Scotland and came back to New York to get married.
Poor Donald can't be with us because he's over in Hollywood, over in Los Angeles,
Donald, he got a call from Steven Spielberg. Could he come and make a cameo in some movie that Spielberg is doing? And of course, Donald didn't want to say no.
Well, we can understand that. It's slightly more important than the BB show, Frank, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us about your lovely family, Mrs. Trump. And we know that sadly you lost a son recently.
We lost a son. Our oldest son we lost. He was 41. Something a mother never forgets.
That would be sad. Anyway, that's Trump's mum. There you go. Kushia said, President Trump, this is a serious offer. We offer you this 4,900 acres complex in Tehran as a gift. Free our country and you can turn it into a hotel and casino. It's currently a shrine housing the founder of the Islamic Revolution's tomb. You can do whatever you want with it. Hello, Trump. Here in Australia, you can take over all the mosques and turn them into whatever you want to. Please help. Oh, how you going, Ruff? Okay. Fox News said President Trump, Iran is looking at freedom, perhaps like never before. The US stands ready to help. That's what he said. Now it makes sense as to why they strategically bombed Iran, wasn't it? Doesn't that make sense now why they strategically did that? They didn't want them having weapons because they are Islamists. And they're, I believe, not legit, you know. Sassafras 84 said she asked AI if Trump was a dictator, and this is how it responded. The left isn't going to like this. You ready for this one? This one's good. Oh, shit, now I can't see the play button. Hang on, I've got a curtain in the way.
This right here was very interesting. Y'all check this out.
Is Trump a dictator or not?
Shit, that's loud.
Trump isn't a dictator. He's the wrench in the machine the real dictators built. While global elites tighten control through media, money, and tech, he's using their own system to expose and collapse it from within. He didn't seize power. He shattered their illusion of it. They call him dangerous, not because he's breaking laws, but because he's breaking control loops. This isn't tyranny. It's the most strategic rebellion against tyranny we've seen in our lifetime. Why Trump isn't a dictator. A dictator silences opposition, expands state control over life, controls media to suppress dissent, uses fear to maintain obedience, consolidates power, and never lets go. Now let's look at Trump. He didn't silence opposition. He took relentless criticism from media, institutions, even his own party. He reduced regulations, not to control more, but to allow more freedom in business and innovation. He was banned from social media, not the one doing the banning. He returned power to the states during COVID rather than forcing nationwide mandates. He walked away from power peacefully, even under pressure and despite deep disagreement with the election process. So what is he doing? Trump's actions aren't about seizing control. They're about exposing control. He's using economic, legal, and geopolitical moves to apply pressure on globalist networks who've hijacked sovereignty through trade, tech, and centralized finance, force corrupt players to reveal themselves by pushing them into reaction, negotiate from strength, not submission, using tariffs, sanctions, and alliances as leverage, not dominance, shift power dynamics without collapsing the system, forcing realignment instead of full destruction. The bigger connection, and this isn't just about politics, it's about resetting the board. He's operating inside the system, but he's not of it. He's using its rules to expose its weakness and create openings for decentralization, innovation, and sovereignty to rise. That's not dictatorship. That's disruption on a level most people still don't fully see yet.
I have no idea what AI that was, but it just broke that down like a master wizard.
I gotta cut the music off pretty quick. How you going, J1, Humpty, and Randy? Good to see you guys. Yeah, that was so well said. Which AI did that? Okay, Charlie Mullins OBE. If only we had somebody like Trump. This is obviously in the UK. And it's set to music. Okay, I'm just going to show you the quick, 3 seconds. Hopefully YouTube don't censor me. I'd say CDC too. Let me play it. Hang on.
Stop being a fucking asshole. You're...
Okay, I'm going to have to do it like this, okay? I'm going to have to keep cutting it every couple of seconds. Hang on a sec. It's only 20 seconds long. I've done 5 seconds and 6 seconds so far.
Fucking up the homeland, and I cannot...
Okay, another 5 seconds. Oh...
Let that happen. Got it. Yes, Mr. Trump.
Okay. That was a good one if I was able to play it just straight out. It's only 20 seconds long, but on YouTube it'll get censored hard for that. Insurrection Barbie said Arun Subramanian is a United States District Judge serving on the Southern District of New York, who just issued an injunction to force the Trump administration to hand over your tax dollars to support fraudulent daycare centres all over the country. He was appointed by Joe Biden in 2023. He issued an injunction knowing the states don't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning this case. Federal courts cannot force the executive to disburse funds on a particular timeline, absent a clear statutory command. And there is no clear statutory authority to disperse funds immediately to daycares absent a thorough review. So this judge issued an injunction forcing the waste of taxpayer money in a case he knows the state won't actually win on its merits. You need to get rid of them. This is the infiltration instead of invasion. American AF said Venezuelan business owners are now putting portraits of President Trump up in their stores. Liberals are absolutely furious. Cope. Let them seethe. Libs of TikTok said breaking Houston Wade, a leftist activist and with a long history of calling Republicans and Trump supporters pedos, was arrested in WA after allegedly trying to meet up with an 11-year-old child for sexual activities. Projection, Your Honour. Projection. Yeah. Embarrassed? No, probably not. You should be. Shamed. Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill said to prevent fraud, we ask states to provide receipts before sending taxpayer money for childcare. 5 blue states sued and an activist Biden appointed judges orders to stop asking. What are they afraid of? Because they're all involved. We'll comply with the court, but we will fight. We will appeal. We'll keep asking questions. We will stop the fraud. Sadie said the left is saying the ICE agent deserved to get hit because he did not get out of the way and that he was in front of her car. Does that mean we can hit protesters when they won't get out of the way and they're in front of our cars? Canada Proud asked Grok to remove Justin Trudeau's father from this photo. There you go. Yep. Everyone thinks that now. Jesse Kelly said, we're just counting down till a federal officer gets killed. All the ingredients are there. It's just a matter of time. The elite communists are practically begging one of the street animals to do it, and one of them is going to do it. And I'm already mad. I'm pre-mad. Wow. Godly action said in the Quran, you must die for Allah. In the Bible, my God died for me. Tell me how it's the same thing. Jose Miguel said, American friends, the Venezuelan people are having a blast thanks to you. That's because of, yep, you guys, Trump. The Texas one said, whoever's running the White House TikTok page is an absolute gem. I want to see this one.
I saw this video. It didn't look like anybody got run over to me.
Based off what I'm seeing here, it really doesn't look like an ICE officer was run over.
You can see the video and see the agent wasn't run over. We all saw the video. She didn't run over the officer.
This was clearly not with any sort of intention to run somebody over.
There you go. What was that? You didn't get run over? Oh, someone told me that the other day. I was speaking to someone on the phone. They said he didn't get run over. I said, the news is showing you what they want to show you. Have you seen the whole video? And I had an argument with this person, like a friendly, you know, not an argument, but what do we call it? Probably a debate. And, yeah, the next day they rang me and said, yeah, I saw it. Thriller the Gorilla said, I'm beginning to think we'd probably be better off if Y2K had actually ruined all the computers back in 2000. Sort of, but we wouldn't know what we know now. Really. So it would have, you know, catch-22. Would have been good, but then we wouldn't know what we know now. Defiant L said, anti-ICE protesters slips out and admits I'm being paid right now. Of course they're being paid. Did you not think they were being paid?
Shame! Shame!
Do you have a job? Do you have a job?
Shame! Shame! I'm getting paid right now! Shame! Shame! I'm getting paid right now!
There you go. They're getting paid to do it. Elon Musk said, if the American public is unable to influence the outcome, we do not live in a democracy. The House, Senate and presidency are Republican, and yet a single activist masquerading as a judge is able to force massive fraud to continue. And that is the Stephen Miller Federal District Court judge rules taxpayers must fund infinite refugee daycare scams. This is not a legitimate system. This is not democracy. Yeah, and if you're not able to fix it, then you don't have a democracy. JB said, Dear America, Canada's a failed country. I want to be American. I'll work hard and love America. Thank you, a Canadian citizen. Dear America, Australia's a failed country. I want to be American. I'll work hard and I'll love America. Thank you, an Australian citizen. Well, hang on, no, I'm not. Irish Australian. Joey Manarino said, so when a white goes and lives in African countries, it's colonialism. But when an African migrant does it in Western countries, it's multiculturalism. Interesting, right? How interesting is that? So when white people go and live in African countries, it's colonialism. But when they come to our countries, it's multicultural. Alexandra Marshall said, for all of those who thought the Online Safety Act and under 16 legislation was just about protecting kids, now the UK, EU and Australia want to ban Twitter. Not Blue Sky, Twitter. A shameless attempt at political control. I told you so doesn't seem to cover it. I don't think it's going to happen. Craig Kelly, Foundation for Economic something or other. Grok, create me an image of Anthony Albanese having a sook. Australians versus the Agenda said Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is upset that people have been using the X tool Grok to generate pictures of him wearing a bikini during the summer heat wave. They've been doing the same thing as they've been doing to Starmer, okay?
The issue where Prime Minister Keir Starmer has certainly raised of what has occurred on the social media platform X. The use of generative artificial intelligence to exploit or sexualise people without their consent is abhorrent. I know that the East Safety Commissioner is looking at this. The fact that this tool was used so that people were using its image creation function through Grok is, I think, just completely abhorrent. It once again is an example of social media not showing social responsibility, and Australians and indeed global citizens deserve better.
Oh, you big crybaby, go away. F you, Albo. Oh, dear. I didn't mute the mic that time. It crept up on me. Greg Gutfield said, no wonder there are so many lesbians in Portland when you got men like this. And, you know, Portland Police Chief Bob Day cries at the press conference after having to affirm that DHS Gov was correct in stating that the illegal Venezuelan migrants accused of trying to run down Border Patrol have ties to Trendiaragua. Chief Day admitted that he hesitated to share the truth with the public. On January 8th, Border Patrol non-fatality shot a man and woman in East Portland after they allegedly tried to run down agents in a red pickup truck following a targeted stop. This is a different one than the other one, okay? Internal communications about the incident, which was inaccurately blamed on ICE, were leaked to PDX ICE Watch by Multnomah County first responder. The entire city and state leadership, all run by Democrats, organised an emergency press conference to condemn the federal agents, reject DHS statement and to express support with the violent suspects, who they called the victims. Local and national media also misled the public about the shooting. A mob showed up to try to attack the ICE facility, leading to 6 arrests. And this, weak as P-Man. Yep, and he's crying apparently. Let's have a...
Injustice of victim blaming, oftentimes portrayed by law enforcement, including this very agency that I've represented.
I don't want to see him cry. I don't think much of him as it is. I don't want him to think any less. I don't like seeing grown men cry. It's not nice. They shouldn't have a reason to. Michelle Maxwell said the following is a post someone made to People magazine that puts it all into perspective. She was a 37-year-old woman, mother of 3 kids. It's the middle of the work week. The father of those children is deceased. She is her children's only living parent. The one job she has above every cause, every protest, every headline is getting home to her kids. And what is she doing instead? She's out of state, in the street, in her car, blocking federal agents who are doing their job. Her partner is right there too, filming her like this is some brave little documentary moment. Around them, whistles blaring, people yelling, pure chaos, manufactured chaos, so agents can't do their lawful duty. Her window is down, she hears the orders, she understands the orders, she ignores the orders. I think this person sums it up perfectly. Then she puts the car in reverse, still doesn't comply. Then she puts it in drive, not park. She moves forward into the agent. Now put yourself in the agent's shoes for half a second. A driver is already in an unlawful act and refusing commands in a hostile, chaotic scene, and now that driver uses a vehicle to move toward you. You get a split second. You don't get the luxury of, maybe she's just stressed. You have to assume the worst. You have to think of protecting other people, because if you assume the best and you're wrong, you don't go home and maybe others are injured or killed. So the agent fires after she makes an intentional and aggressive move towards him because he has no idea what her intentions are, and she's just demonstrated she's willing to escalate. Now imagine her 3 kids at school sitting there like any other day, not knowing their mother is out playing street hero games for criminals. She didn't think about them. She didn't think, if I get arrested, who picks my babies up? She didn't think, if I get hurt, who takes care of them? She didn't think, if I die, who raises them? She thought about protecting criminals. She thought about interfering with federal agents. She thought about the camera. She thought about the crowd. She thought about the moment. There is no amount of evidence, money, tears on TV or news spin that can make this make sense. As a mother, nothing about this makes sense. At minimum, she knew her actions could get her arrested, and she still chose it. She chose strangers. She chose chaos. She chose lawlessness. Make it make sense, because the only thing I see is 3 kids who just got abandoned by the only parent they had left, not by accident, but by a series of deliberate choices. That is a very good post, that one. And that's that lady that just got shot. Healthbot said, remember the plague that wiped out the Amish because they don't vaccinate their children? Yeah, me neither. God love the Amish. John Goddard said, I don't want to live in a country where free speech is banned, X is banned, infinite Indians, infinite taxes, houses are for the elites. But I do, unfortunately. Well, how's that, mate? Me too. Kylie B said Victoria's burning. Oh, yeah, Victoria's on fire. Prayers for any Victorians out there. The fire trucks are antiquated. Homes lost, livestock lost, native animals lost. Albanese crying about memes of him in a bikini. You should say they don't even have air conditioning in the trucks. The trucks are so old they don't have air conditioning. It's really sad, actually. And yet they give away money to all these... Well, didn't they just give money to the jihadis? Didn't Albo just give them $27 million or something? How about that goes to your firefighters? Imagine how many fire trucks. Some of it can go to hospitals too. Anyway, let me get off that little rant. Katie said a 29-year-old truck driver with no air conditioning. There you go. A 29-year-old truck with no air conditioning for our volunteer firefighters. Premier Jacinta Allen, that's an absolute disgrace. Meanwhile, taxpayers forked out more than $230,000, including over $173,000 just on flights to send you and your staffers on a trip to China. I know exactly where I'd rather see my taxes go. What about the money she wasted on those machete bins? They could have gone to the firefighters. There's a lot of places that they've sent money to that could have gone to our firefighters. Clandestine said, I'm so sick of people using the word infighting. There is no infighting. A bunch of anti-Trumpers are posing as MAGA, trying to sabotage Trump's support from within. We are repelling a hostile invasion, not infighting. They were never on our side to begin with. Okay, Senator Babbitt said, I'm hearing rumours that discussions are taking place at high levels about permanently banning X. Needless to say, if they attempt something like that, the public backlash should be swift, fierce and unmistakable. And it will be. It makes me wonder, 10 days darkness. Is it going to be some kind of internet thing or is it literal? No, I don't think it's literal. I think it's something like this maybe. Mark PG said Australian PM does not want to ban OnlyFans where you can watch one woman screw 1,000 guys to make money. He doesn't want to ban gambling ads that cause suicide and destruction Australian-wide and destruction of families. But he wants to ban X because Grok pictured him in a bikini. And there you go. Yep, Bridget Gabriel said every single country in the world would love to have Donald J. Trump as their president. I know I would. Matthew Cummins-Zul. Oh, listen to this one. Hang on a minute. With reciprocal pensions with India, Australia will be totally bankrupted. There is no way Aussies are going to go to India en masse to retire. But Indian immigration to Australia is massive. India has a population of 1.5 billion people. With the Australian age pension available to them in just 10 years. Get stuffed. Propping up the short-term economy with ticking time bombs like this is not the act of a government that cares about its nation's prosperity. Surely we have to cancel this, Albo. Say something, Susan Lay. She's no good either. There will be no future for Australia if something isn't done immediately. This is insane. Grok has said the Australia-India Social Security Agreement 2016 allows combining residency, insurance periods for pension eligibility, but Medicare is not reciprocal. Permanent visa holders, example age parent visa 804, can access age pension after 10 years Australian residency, potentially less with Indian credits, and NDIS if disabled. No RWP for age pension. Indian immigration has grown 845,000 Indian born in 2023. Costs age pension $55 billion now. Projections vary. NDIS $42 billion, potentially $100 billion by 2035. Claims of no pension for Australians are overstated. Sources Services Australia. Holy shit. You can't go giving pensions to all of them, man. Elon Musk says suicidal empathy for the criminals, but apathy for the victims is an epitome of cruelty. Jonathan Pallison said Somalis are once again the perfect example of the failure of empathy in the West. Why should this Somali man be allowed to live in our country after he raped a 10-year-old girl repeatedly over an hour plus raped another 18-year-old girl? There is no sensible reason, yet he was allowed to stay. And now he's out from prison and again has killed a man. Easiest avoidable murder ever, but our government wants us victimised by Somalis. Great. Wall Street Mav said once we have Greenland, we'll have Canada surrounded. They're going to hate it. No, I think Canada is going to be part of America shortly. And last one, Jamie Mitchell said, wow, Denmark's Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, has announced a ruthless deportation policy aimed at Muslims, claiming they threaten the country's way of life and happiness. You are not supposed to be here. We're fed up with your reckless way of life. We're fed up with your culture of dominance. You are destroying the happiest country in the world, she said. This is the way. Go, lady, go. Okay. Let's see how far I can get back here in the comments. Oh, quite far, actually. Okay. Oh, Teresa, you're recovering from a mini stroke. God love you. Prayers for you. Yeah, I hope Shannon was spoiled too yesterday. Dealey said, Alex, love the music video you did for Shannon. Menacing said, happy belated birthday wishes, Shannon. You got a lovely cool change for your birthday from 47 degrees to 25 degrees. We went from 42 to 20. But I can smell smoke. Oh, heavy smell of like bushfire. But last time I looked, there was nothing in the area. So what's going on? Something weird's going on. Teresa said, what would we know without POTUS? Yes, the weather was brutal. It was so hot. I hope you guys overseas are staying warm while we melt over here. Shannon said, still my birthday in England, Canada and US. Lol, catch up world. Yeah, Deb said, I celebrate my birthday for a week. Nice way to go. Shannon said, so hot it shut the cinema down. AC couldn't keep up. Oh, wow. Yeah, we had our AC pumping. I could not jump on the stream yesterday because I don't have, it's not ducted air conditioning. It's just like one system in the dining room. And if I shut my door, it cuts off all the air conditioning to my room. And I couldn't lock myself in my room at 40 degrees and try and stream. So that's why I didn't come on yesterday. Teresa said, thank you, Deb. I'm like the wrestler Undertaker. Shannon said, Deb's is super smart, not just a pretty face. Deb said, who is Michelle Gunn? Oh, she's my old, what do you call it? Old mod from the original channel. Teresa said, explain my crown and what it means. I don't know. It's just how much you comment, I think. Like a top fans thing. I don't know. Alex said, hey, Michelle, I think you timed out Rolf by accident. Whoops. Ruff's in here. Morning all. I'm going to be healthy and have a vegetarian breakfast. Yummy, a 6-pack of pale ale. Oh, Ruff. Goodness me. I'm going to jump off here and have a nice healthy breakfast of bacon and eggs. Shannon said the crown is a scam and rigged system. Shannon said, I can't work how to win. It's just random. I think it's the more you comment. I'm not sure. Menacing Muskrat said, thumbs it up, folks. Thank you very much. Yes, please do. It helps me out because YouTube are hiding me. I know they are. Yeah, I'm being worked against on YouTube here. But hey, who cares really? Shannon said, gluten-free pale ale. Teresa said, Alex, I have issues communicating. It's all good. I'm blessed to be here. Love and missed you all. Oh, God love you. Definitely prayers for everyone who needs it, honestly. Alex said, I think the only way I can reverse the timeout is by putting in timeout again for 10 seconds instead of 30 minutes that was given by mistake. And Donald came in. How you going, Donald? Alex said, hopefully that's reversed it. Michelle must have sat on her phone or something. Yeah, I hate being a mod for other people because I'm likely to time someone out by accident or God knows I don't know. Alex said, let me know if you're back, Rolf. Donald said, lol, Trumpinator. Okay. Did Rolf come back after all that? I hope so. Alex said, yes, I had to re-time out to change it 10 seconds instead of 30 minutes. It's the only way I could do it. Wow. Shannon said, if only Donald had 5150 numbers, that would be Van Halen tie as well. Yeah, Eric, only 16 like. Yeah, YouTube's not like, they really don't like me. YouTube do not like me. Shannon said, yeah, but they're really big likes. Quality, not quantity. God love you. Inverted Earth, there you go. I said, I see 29. That's good. Dealey said, good one. Alex said, I'm so glad you're much better in here tonight, Therese. Yeah, Teresa, God love you. Alex said, I was singing that earlier. Trumpinator, too catchy, lol. Teresa said, too sweet, dear one. Alex. And Sherry popped in. How you going, Sherry? Shannon said, scams everywhere. Alex said, I can still only see 4 likes for ages. The likes never go up unless I refresh. Yeah, that's what you got to do. I think at the moment, how many have we got? I can't even tell. It tells me how many concurrent viewers and how many views I've had. No likes. Okay. Anywho. Shannon said, get the hell out of our tax money. Yeah. A menacing muskrat. Shannon said, I see 32 likes. Eric said, that was insurrection. Donald thanks fools for giving him ammunition. Exactly. Michelle said, scams everywhere is right. Got offered a medbed appointment offer after $1,000 deposit and verification. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'd wait. Hang out. Sherry said, hey, Deb, everyone. Inverted Earth said, yes, she was a jury foreman. That's right. Yep. Menacing Muskrat said, I thought you were referring to Jean Carroll Hev. No. Ruff said, I asked AI if it's possible to double Elbow's IQ. AI asked me, why do I want my Prime Minister to become a half-wit and why I'm unhappy with the F-wit I have. Oh, good on you, Ruff. Deb said, a lot coming through Facebook of what happened to Hillary. Oh. Alex said, yeah, Michelle, have to be careful. Some of them look so real too. There's apparently an Amazon one going around too where they send a free gift and steal money if you scan the QR code. Dealey said, get your whistleblower insurance. Menacing Muskrat said, if X is banned in the UK, Trump will introduce sanctions on the UK. Yep. Alex said, I would never scan one of those codes. Shannon said, that woman who tried to run over Ice Agent got shot. Her partner said, go, baby, go. Worse than the dog was forced to participate in their FAFO session. Yep. Yeah, the dog was in the car. Alex said, Starmer just wants complete control. He'll never get it as much as he might try. Teresa said, lizard lady in human suit. Deb said, looks like it, Teresa. Shannon said, imagine losing your partner aiding illegals. I know, it's unbelievable, eh? Teresa said, Deb, so many government full of them. Yep. Dealey said, didn't he get on his knees and beg? Yes, he did. Yeah, Eric said, yeah. Shannon said, yeah, is it called Somalia? Alex said, the guy looks like a bit like Albo, but he's the good twin. He is a good man. That's John Kennedy we're talking about. Look him up on YouTube. There's all these, I think there's a lot of shorts of him just saying the funniest things. Yeah, Eric said, one of the few in Congress. It's a good man. Teresa said, Venezuela's Smartmatic voting machines, oil stopped human trafficking allegedly. Yep. Alex said, shame there aren't more like this, Eric. Menacing said, does someone just blow their nose? Hev, yes, that was me. I tried to mute myself, but I don't think it worked. Yeah, Shannon, it's not on purpose. Alex said, we're family here. Menacing Muskrat said, you did. Lol, I'm laughing hard. Tears are rolling. Eric said, have no problem. At least it wasn't a fart. Alex said, could still hear him okay. Alex is laughing at what Eric said. Deb said, we're all comfortable with each other. We can all fart in front of... Oh, no, I don't think so. I wouldn't do it. Alex said, it's all a massive money racket. Teresa said, there is more room out than in. Grandpa used to say. Yeah, I'd rather fart and smell a little than hold it in and be a cripple. That's the saying that used to go around here when I was young. Deb said, don't be embarrassed, Hev. Shannon said, Hev blames them up. No, that was me. Alex said, no wonder all our countries are going down the shit pipe, just stealing the money for nefarious things. None of them want to make our lives better. They just want power and control at our expense. Yep. Teresa said, Hev, proof of humanity. Exactly. Flyby Stew said, ooh, nasty shirt cases. Shannon said, the fix was in from the start, was designed to be a scam. Yeah, Deb. Proof Hev is not a bot. Because I have to blow my nose and AI doesn't have to do that. And they also could probably pronounce those names a bit better than I could, but some of the words they say aren't right. I don't know, they say tears instead of tears and tears instead of tears, and it doesn't sound right in context. Along with other words they get wrong. Okay, what are we talking about here? Deb said, so did his wife. Alex said, good to see you. Hope you're staying warm up north, mate. Flyby. Shannon said, we won't have something going. What? I'm not reading that, Shannon. Jeez. Louise. Hello to the cats, said Deb. No, thank you, Shannon. Flyby said, you menacing me again, Muskrat, lol. Good to see you, by the way. Doing okay. Temps are way down. Bill's going through the hemisphere. Yep. Oh, aren't we all? Deb said, I thought anarchy was violence. Yeah, it probably is. I got painted a sweet picture of anarchy way back, you know. So I was considered myself, yeah, why not anarchy, you know, for a bit, and then went, oh, no, I see how that can turn out, yeah. Okay. Flyby said, no, I already read that one. Shannon said, that's a pretty accurate picture. Eric said, sure, next they'll have Bill Clinton in a blue dress. Shannon said, paying interest on fake money. Dealey said, that should have always been illegal, what credit cards charge. Yeah, it should be. Hey, J1, how you going? Alex said, I thought it meant no government. Yeah, that's what I used to think. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Eric says, okay, off to supper night, folks. Have a good one, Eric. Teresa said, I can't wait for the release of government who was being paid money by Venezuela. Maduro gave it all up to POTUS. I'm happy to be alive for such a time as this. You all said 60 individuals. Yeah. Alex said, it's crazy how come people can play music and you can't have. Yeah, I know. That's why I broke it up into like 5-second pieces because, and they'll still try. They will still try and copyright me, claim copyright. It's not that they copyright strike me. Sometimes they do and they say it's blocked out of all regions because of a copyright thing where I have to then cut it out of the video. Yeah, it's rules for some and different rules for other on YouTube. Yeah, Shannon, super fancy. Alex said, Scotland, Ruff said, why do humans choose to fart on horses more than any other animal? Should I apply for a grant to find out? We don't fart on dogs or cats. Interesting. We also don't sit on dogs or cats, so maybe, I don't know. Alex said, okay, the new. Shannon said, well, you don't, Ruff. Alex said, oh, bless her. And Randy said, hello, Randy. Shannon said, I fart on elevators, nothing like a trapped audience. Oh, God, Shannon, no. Teresa said, have real deal. Yep. Jay said, stick to the roads, beware of the moors. Shannon said, going down. Alex said, we're in interesting times, that's for sure. Humpty, how you going? Trump part of the beast system, believe it or not, taking control of this kingdom, 1 of 10. I don't think Trump is part of the beast system, but hey, I can agree to disagree. Flyby said, how crazy is this world? Interest rates or fake money? It's true what they say. What I say, turn internet off and the madness goes quiet. Yeah, it does. It does. Deb said, I did it in a very small shop once, was silent, so I thought I would be okay. Oh, my God, I cleared the shop. Oh, no, Deb. Teresa said, I agree, time for POTUS to call the ball. D-Lee said, yeah, flyby, life is better when you shut off the fake world, yep. Yeah, Deb, Australia next. Randy said, great to hear you live, Hev. Yeah, it's good to be here, it is. I might not be here during the week, but I'll be back as soon as I possibly can, and if not, by next weekend, I'll definitely be back. D-Lee said, back in black. Yep, Aussie music it is. Shannon said, Akadaka. Flyby said, getting my brushes out, decorating my house. Internet off. Nice one. Teresa said, salute 45, 47. Shannon said, 45 to 47. Deb said, probably why they want to lower the consent age down to 10. Shannon said, Vincent age to 10, marriage age 9. Oh, no. Deb said, I've been watching a lot of X-Files. That's good. Shannon said, inverted and twisted. Deb said, Alex is a very beautiful lady. Deb said, just speed bump. Humpty Dumpty said, my bad, sister. Do you think Alex was a guy too? Yeah, we all have done that. God love poor Alex. Dealey said, clearly a psyop. Alex said, I'm back. I just had to move rooms. J1 said he done well to get a shot of the correct direction. Alex said, no worries. Doesn't help that I have a Neo as my profile picture, Humpty. Jake, how you going? He was run over previously and hospitalised. Yeah, that's why he was a bit concerned, and he had every right to be. Randy said yes and her giggle. Alex said, Flyby, lucky to get a tent these days. Flyby said, hey, how's your mum and stuff? Okay, I hope. Oh, same. I'm running around the house with alcohol wipes everywhere, wiping everything down. Constantly. I've normally got gloves and, alcohol wipes or bleach or something in my hands. So, just the same. Yeah, getting quieter and quieter and, winding down. God love her. D-Lee said, Humpty, once upon a time I thought Alex was a he and Shannon was a she. Yeah. Humpty said, yep, her giggle. And Deb said, yes, Hev's giggle is always what gets us. Yeah. When I laugh, other people laugh at my laugh, which is good. I love it. Alex said, yeah, I did too, Shannon. Deb said, boo-hoo, Albo. Yeah. Humpty said, yeah, I mess up sometimes. Don't we all? We all do. Jake saying hello to everyone. Deb said, suck it up, creepy man. That's to Albo. Flyby said, is he Starmer the Harmer's brother? I don't know. Deb said, you're on Mardi Gras. How disgraceful, sorry. Alex said, Albo sounds like a drone like Starmer. Makes me want to tune him out, lol. Alex said, exactly, Flyby, Stu. Definitely cut from the same cloth. Flyby said, you still smoking, Hev? Yeah, I started again. Yeah, I did. I've got to try and give up again now. Shit. Muskrat said even old Klaus Schwab took it better than Anthony when he was paraded on the beach in his little outfit, lol. Humpty said, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm taking break, clearing snow, finally received snow, very happy. I hope you dry, fam. God love you. J1 said the bikini showed he has no weenie. No weenie in his bikini. Deb said, who remembers Albanese crying? Alex said, don't know about grown men. Seems more like a big baby. Yeah. Like, unless there's... Look, if a grown man cries because of the death of a pet or a loved one, that's fair enough, right? But I don't want to see... I don't want to think any less of the person. And I will. I don't want to see it. I'm sorry, guys. Deb said, lock her up. Shannon said, imagine the poor unrestrained dog in the back seat. I know. Alex said, it's not Grand Theft Auto. People have lost the plot. Deb said, how many jabs has she taken? Yeah. Extra DC, vaccination, 666. Yep. How you going, Extra DC? Shannon said, the other parent was outside screeching, go, baby, go. Yeah, exactly. That wasn't the other parent, though. That was like her wife. She had a husband, but he was apparently a big lefty too. He's depressed and all. People have looked into their background now. He's depressed, a lefty, you know, kind of thing. And Ruff said, Humpty, it was about 48 degrees here the other day. A tourist said it's hot and I smiled and told him summer just began. The ground hasn't warmed yet. It gets to mid-50s here. Oh, yeah, Ruff, where you are, definitely. Deb said, very scary. Alex said, blimey, J1. Alex said, sorry, I meant Ruff. Extra DC, said Alex, we know the truth. Alex said, yes, the truth always comes out in the end, extra DC. Humpty said, this was 3 real feel, crazy weather. Hope you believe we're now in purification of Earth. The seasons are blending just as this physical world will. Humpty said, blend together also. Deb said, we lost 10 days for our real calendar. Oh, that's interesting. Humpty said, with a spiritual world. Deb said, they're coming here. Humpty said, so prepare yourself spiritually and accordingly. Yep. Put the armour of God on. Teresa said, are they also pokey pokes controlled? Seriously, I'm wondering. Alex said, it wouldn't surprise me, Teresa. Frequencies, asked Teresa. Oh, where'd I go? I've jumped. Where am I? Okay. Dunno, I must have been way back. Here somewhere. Humpty said, be in balance with all things in life. Humble yourself before Creator. Don't be evil or will be destroyed. Yep. Flyby said, some shit show this is. Not even had half time yet, ready for a ciggy break, for fuck's sake. Teresa said, who still sees chemo trials? If so, where area, wondering? Deb said Victoria. D-Lee said, still chemtrailing in the Midwest. Inverted Earth said it was just snowing here in Michigan. Nice. Is that MI there? Teresa? Yep. Deb said, yes, we have very good ducted air and it's really struggling. Flyby said 24/7 here, Teresa. Humpty said, spray the sky here at northern Arizona right now, clear. Donald said 70 here today, but supposed to be cold next week. Crazy weather here in GA. Inverted Earth said, hey, neighbour Teresa. Randy said it's raining where he is. Flyby's in the UK. Deb said, I come in to chat to get top crown. Alex said, I need to go figure out how to get rid of this crown thing. It'd be very annoying. Yeah, I know. Dealey said, bipolar weather here, 71 day, 20 later in the same day. Yeah, Shannon said, true that, Alex. Honestly, the crowns, I don't know why they did it. It's weird. Deb said, yes, prayers for all our Havites. Humpty said, I had an earthquake about 69 miles north of me. 3.75 miles down, we have a prophecy about a place called Corn Rock. Ooh, that's very interesting depth, that one. Humpty. Flyby said, just started taking oregano oil and black seed oil. See how it goes? Nice. Humpty said, when it falls, end is here. Yeah, apparently oregano oil is really nice. Shannon said, for 46 likes. Thank you. Appreciate that, guys. Alex said it's a newish YouTube thing to encourage engagement, but I think it's probably more of a monitoring thing along with new unique handle and why everyone's name changed. Oh, that confused the hell out of me. I didn't know who anyone was. Therese said, Mother Nature going through change of life. Hormonal. Deb said, yes, refresh to get likes. D-Lee said, hopefully everyone has stopped eating all the processed food like stuff. Yes. Humpty said, not trying to scare, only for people to prepare themselves. Yep. Deb said 48. Shannon said 49. Alex said, are you still taking that DMSO? I think my dad started taking oregano oil. Supposed to be really good. Can't take a lot of that, though, apparently. Flyby stew. I can't even find my DMSO somewhere in there. Humpty says, mine shows 49. Deb said, gold rough. Flyby said, been told 2 caps per day, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, but depends how pure. I got DSMO, but mixed it in when needed. Yep. Too many in power along doing nose candy. Just an opinion. Yes. Alex said, always good to be prepared, Humpty, rather than being a sitting duck. Alex said, oh, yeah, it's all over the House of Commons here, probably paying for it with tax money too. I'm sure they are. Deb said, we're on our phone computer, so I think we'll be okay to fart. Yeah, you're fine if you're at home. Not me, though. Like, Alex said, all sniffing the snow. Mm-hmm. Teresa said, oh, elbow. Dealey said, speaking of nose candy, fastest thumbnail by redacted President Macron and his husband. Dealey said, latest. Teresa said, yes, they in that club. Humpty said, saw that, redacted. Flyby said, you farting again, Deb? Deb said, well, Anarchy was against the English government. I remember Sex Pistol Band. Alex said, yeah, is that the band with John Lydon? He was speaking truth back in the 70s, 80s. Deb. Menacing said, Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron are in bunkers in Paris, France. The French farmers demanding them to resign. Getting hot over there. Excuse me, I have to blow my nose, lol. On your menacing. Shannon said, I'll call it the blame game. Delay said, one of my recent videos, YouTube will 5 times August put up copyright under my video. Of course they do. They always do. Delay, we're not allowed, but other people are. Flyby said, Jay Lydon exposed Jay Savile back in the day. Alex said, I've heard about the French protesters recently again. Dumps whole lorry loads of potatoes and manure outside Parliament. Yep. Alex said, yeah, I remember seeing that. He was well ahead of the times and knew what was going on, Flyby. Shannon said, rotten potato smell. Oh, it's horrible. Menacing Muskrat said it'll be guillotines next. Teresa said, bring flies. Yeah, that'll attract flies. Flyby said, Alex, true that. Dealey said, I had music by 5 times August playing in the background. There's an added pic of the new CD. Menacing Muskrat said, nothing new under the sun. Alex said, sending love and prayers to you and your mum, Hev. Yeah. Shannon said, everyone knew to what was going on but not brave enough to say. Deb said, yeah, much love and prayers for your mum. Thank you. Yeah, I know, Shannon. Deb said, going help if I learn how to use AI, Albo. Deb said, it's not easy giving up when you're under stress. No, it's not, and it's high stress at the moment, let me tell you right now. I can't say anything. I don't want to embarrass my mum, but there's a lot going on. Ruff said, Head, don't forget to finish off with some happy dog or cat videos, otherwise we depart upset. Oh, I found one today too, and I didn't put it in. Teresa said, oh, my Hev, I'm never around where I heard my name. It's truly weird. Flyby said, my brother give me a vape to try. Not sure about that. Chest infections to the max over Christmas. Hence put that cig out, lol. Yeah. Shannon said, 55 likes. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Alex said, yeah, it's always important to keep smiling and laughing, Ruff. Definitely. Yeah, Teresa, nebulizer and 3 eye drops of hydrogen peroxide. Tim S. said, loads of new patients with clot issues at my clinic lately. Oh, God, love you, Tim A. Yeah, that would be the vax, wouldn't it? Dealey said, hey, doctor in the house. Deb said, I tried a vape and it didn't go well. I can't vape, but I can smoke weed. Yeah, I tried a vape and it was really, choking. Okay, anyway. Alex said, oh, that's really sad, Tim. At least they are with a decent doctor now and hopefully you can help them. Yeah, hopefully. I want to try and arrange when we can do a watch with me. I think I'm babysitting tomorrow morning. Oh, shoot. I might try and arrange it for next Sunday. Your Saturday, my Sunday. Tim said, that's really sad. No, that was Alex. And Tim said, more clotting can cause massive mood imbalance, personality changes when in the brain. Ooh. Deb said, is that because of the Jabberwocky, Dr. Tim? Menacing said, it's also sad, Tim. It's just getting started. Yep. Deb said, thank you, Dr. Tim. I was wondering. Teresa said, yes, Deb, flowers to smoke, oil to cook with butter, edible, absolutely 100% cancer survivor, never chemo. Yep. Shannon said, that's not all you can smoke. Tim said, Lipsimol, what is it? Glutathione and NAC will assist in naturally dissolving clots. Ruff said flyby eucalyptus oil on chest, vapor rub. It sterilises lungs. Have almost died from pneumonia twice. Also, I put eucalyptus oil on my wounds. Wow. Where am I back? Where? Around here. Deb said, I've seen there are herbs you can smoke. Tim said nearly all the new patients have been fully jabbed. A few haven't been though. Same symptoms and issues. Lends to the theory of shedding. Oh, yep. Flyby said, thanks, Ruff. We'll try, thank you. Ruff said, I put it on my moustache often. Deb said, oh my God, if you get given blood now, they have so many jabs now. Mine only has 2 being given at the time. Wow. Deb said, yes, as carer, lots of challenges you can't share. Yeah. Yep. Shannon said, how did Timmy's friend go? Alex said, watch with Heather's always fun. Yep, 57 now. Thanks, Shannon. Shannon's keeping account of the likes for me. Deb said, yes, thank God for our Dr. Timmy. Dealey said, burning sage clears the air and when breathed in, it can help clear mucus up from the lungs. There you go. Well, with that, guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. If I'm not babysitting tomorrow, I'll try and come on. But other than that, it might be next week before I can come on. I'll try and maybe do a video or 2 during the week to try and keep up with the news. Humpty said, Teresa, you can put hydrogen peroxide in your eye. Didn't know that. Deb said, it breaks my heart seeing people have chemo knowing there is better. Alex said, I remember hearing that there was supposed to be 5 years, although some people had immediate problems, even death. Seems like a lot more ailments coming out in people now, though, Timmy. Yeah. It's sad. I feel sorry for people who fell for that. And oh, geez. Because my family did. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up and leave it there. And I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And I'll talk to you very soon. I'll try and get back. I'll try and do videos. And we'll see how we go for a watch with me. Okay, guys, much love. Bye.